Hello and welcome to Manhattan Prep session at GMAT Day. My name is Hers and I'm your host for the today's session. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to Stacy. She's a veteran GMAT instructor. Most of you would have read some of her articles across multiple websites while preparing. And please feel free to drop your questions within the Q&A section or chat, whatever you are comfortable with. And we will be happy to answer them throughout the session and most of them towards the end. So with that, I will hand it over to you, Stacey.
Thanks, Harsh. I'm really excited to be here. We're going to talk about our relatively new 655 plus guaranteed course. I actually want to take you through like how we built this thing, why we built this thing, and how we know it works to actually get people the score guarantee that we are offering. So we have this thing we started in January of this year. It's a money back guarantee, and I'm going to share with you the data behind how we put this together and how we know we can actually get our students these scores. Our little agenda for today, 3 items. And let's dive straight in. Ask questions at any point, please, please, please. And Harsh, if you have any questions or if anything comes to mind for you, let me know. So just a little bit about MPrep. We do specialize specifically in business school. So we do the 3 exams that people take for business school, the GMAT, the GRE, and the EA. All of our instructors, we have all scored in the 99th plus percentile on the exams that we teach. Everything we use to teach our students has been created by our instructors. We do not farm this out to AI. We do not farm this out to 98th percentile scoring people, although that's a great score, but it's not good enough for our programs. We make sure that everything is created by 99th percentile scoring people on that exam. The only exception is official materials. So we do actually use official materials, and we strongly recommend that anyone studying for the exam use official materials. We use the official practice exams and the official guides specifically, which we do include in all of our programs and incorporate throughout the curriculum. So just a little bit about it, Manhattan Prep there. So let's dive into this money back guarantee thing and where, like, how did this start and where did this come from? The basic guarantee is if you do the work, you will score either a 655 plus or 70 plus points from your first official practice test, depending on your starting score. And if you don't, we will give you 100% of your tuition back. Like, full stop. It's a 12-week program. It covers everything you need to know for us to be able to guarantee that score. This is not something that's going to take you 6, 9, 12 months. It's actually something that's designed to be efficient. You set that starting score based on an official practice exam. That's important for 2 points. First of all, you don't have to take an official test before you start our program. If you have taken an official test, you can certainly use that as your starting score. But the only thing we require is an official practice exam to start. And we also don't have you take our own exam to start. Like, there's no way for us to rig the game and try to give you a lower starting score or something like that. We're really using the official thing that you will take on MBA.com, the official practice exam. And finally, the guarantee really is 100% money back. If you do your part of the bargain, which is to actually do your homework, and you don't get the score, the refund is a full refund. It's not just hey, we'll extend your access to the online resources or something like that, although you can do that too if you want to. I mention all of this just to say, if you're looking at programs and you are looking at the kinds of guarantees that are offered, make sure that you're reading the fine print, see what's actually being offered out there and what the company is actually putting behind the offer. We are definitely putting our money where our mouth is on this program because we know that it actually works. So when we first wanted to do this, our lawyers were like, wait, you want to give people their money back? Wait, what? We're not sure we're going to let you do this. So we had to actually prove or show that people that our students were actually already getting these improvements. So I'll take you through how we did that and the questions that are coming through. So Vishnu, it depends on your starting score. So if you score a 585 or lower as your starting score, then we guarantee at least a 70-point increase. If you score a 595 or higher as your starting score, then we guarantee at least a 655 plus. So it just depends on your starting score in terms of exactly what your guarantee level is. Okay, so we went back to our lawyers and we said, okay, look, we looked at our students in the regular program. So we have a regular program and we have this new 655 plus guaranteed program. So in our regular course, we measured all student results over a full year, and that what came out there was an 86-point average score improvement for the people who actually did the work. Not everybody does all their work, right? But for the people who did the work, they got an 86-point improvement. But also that's only an average for that group. And if we're going to offer something that's a guarantee, like we can't give 50% of people their money back. We have to make sure we're going to go out of business. So we had to make sure that we built something that we could have everyone get the score. So we specifically designed this new program that I'm about to tell you about to make sure that everybody who does the work can actually get the score coming out of this program. And so Vishnu, if you scored 510 on your baseline, you're guaranteed a 70-point improvement. So you're guaranteed at least a 580 or higher on the exam. If you score a 595 or higher as your baseline, then you're guaranteed at least the 655. So it's at least a 70-point improvement or at least a 655, depending on that starting score. Okay, so here's what happened. So I'm going to tell you, like, these are the things that we then studied and said, what are the things that are correlated, like actually statistically correlated with getting a better score? We came up with certain things that are absolutely required. So we made them like you're required to do them in the program because we know this is what's going to get you the score. I'm also going to tell you additional things that we strongly recommend because the people who got the highest score improvements also did these other things that are in the strongly recommended column. So first of all, you have to come to class, which sounds really obvious, but like you have to come to class to learn from class. So it's a 12-session course. It's a 12-week course with 1 session a week. You do have to come to class. We also recommend that you participate in class. The people who participate in class are much more likely, again, it's highly correlated with the people who are getting the highest score improvements. We also have something called a basic math diagnostic that we have you take at the beginning, like before your program starts. It's basically testing your fundamental math skills. If you score less than 80% on that basic math diag, then you need to complete our Foundations of Math material before session 4 of your course. You don't have to pay anything extra for it. It's already included in the program. If you score greater than 80% on the basic math diag, it's not required to do that work. But I still actually recommend that you go through it because the Foundations of Math material, it's going to teach you how to do math super fast on paper, like super quick and dirty. How do you get this done with the minimal amount of time and mental energy expended? And that's obviously critically important on the GMAT. So even if you score greater than 80%, I actually recommend you still go through the FOM material. You can do it pretty quickly. But if you score less than 80%, then yeah, you're required to do it. Next, you need to take and analyze 5 official practice exams. We're going to buy the practice exams for you. They're assigned on your calendar, so really you just have to follow your calendar. We're going to give you the tools to analyze it as well. You'll do things like, I got this question wrong. You'll tag questions like, this one was a careless mistake. This one I legit didn't know what I was doing, whatever. So you'll tag the questions in certain ways. And then you'll get a report out of that gives you the things that you need to focus on to get better before your next practice exam. We actually recommend that you take 6 to 7 practice exams before you go in there for the first time for the real thing. But again, we just require 5. You do have to do your homework. Again, this seems pretty obvious, but yeah, you got to do your homework in order to get the score in the exam. The program averages about 10 hours of homework a week for that 12 weeks. We do recommend, again, this is recommended, not required, but we recommend that you sign up for our accountability coaching program. No extra cost. It's included in the program. This is being able to text or email with an instructor pretty much at any point outside of class. If you have a question about something, if you're nervous about something, if you need reassurance, if you need help staying motivated, whatever it might be. You also have the opportunity to set up a study group with your classmates. Again, not required, but strongly recommended. And then you need to take the official test at least once within 60 days of your last class. So we actually recommend that you take it twice. So I tell all my students, plan to take the test twice. The first test is your dry run because it's really nerve-wracking to get in there that first time. Most people actually score better on the second exam simply because they know what to expect going in the second time in terms of the testing center or the security procedures, all of that. GMAT, the org that makes the exam, they published stats saying that the average score change between first official test and second official test, it's like between 20 and 30 points. And a lot of that is simply because now you know what to expect. So we recommend that you take it twice, but we only require you to take it once within 60 days after your class ends. I want to mention too for this, this was before the new exam. Like I mentioned that we've got the 86-point thing that we showed for people in our regular program. About 5 or 6 years ago, who's heard about Poets and Quants? Harsh, have you ever gone on Poets and Quants? You know what I'm talking about? That's this like news and info site that specializes in people who want to go to B school. So they did a survey of a few hundred students like 5 or 6 years ago. So this was for the old version of the exam. But this was something else that we showed our lawyers basically when we were trying to convince them to let us do this. And when they did this survey, I'm trying to put it in the chat right now. Hang on a second. I'm trying to give you the link. Oh, it's not letting me post the link. I'll get you the link later. But when they did the survey, people who took Manhattan Prep classes, we came out as the top scoring company. The students that they surveyed scored an average of 104 points higher than their starting score. The next highest company, the second place company, was 80 points. Now, this was a long time ago. I'm mentioning it just because like this was one of the things that we had to show that we really knew what we were doing. It's also the case that it's still me and my team. It's the same people making this stuff. So we were the ones making it 6 years ago, 3 years ago, last year, right now. Our team hasn't changed. We know what we're doing. We've been proving it for a long time. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. And the other thing I'll mention is the 655 guarantee. We actually started it for some of our tutoring programs a year ago. So we started in January 2025 with tutoring. So I have some data for you there. And the course, it just started in January of this year. So we don't have a bunch of people who finished it yet. Although I just heard from a student yesterday who took the real test yesterday and his score went up 100 points. The tutoring programs that started in January of 2025, we've had more than 200 people go through those programs so far. The refund rate is less than 3%. So that like people who qualified to get the refund, less than 3%. And we only have one person who we denied a refund. So this wasn't like people were requesting a refund and we were denying them all. We have one person in that entire year who got denied a refund. And that was because they didn't use all of their tutoring hours. So we were like, you have to actually do all the work. So we just told the person, if you want to finish the program now and finish using your tutoring hours and go take the exam, and then if you still don't get the score, then you can reapply for the refund. But yeah, you do actually have to finish the program before you could apply for the refund if you don't get the score. So yeah, it's working. I'm just glancing to see if we have any other questions before I keep going. Okay. Harsh, can you remind me later? I'll try and get you that link, get that link to everybody if they want to look at the quotes and quants.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not letting me paste it in right now. Okay. All right. So let's talk. So let me pause there. Other questions? Any questions about like how we know that we can offer this guarantee or anything like that? Harsh, did that bring up any like thoughts for you?
I think I was quite skeptical, to be honest, when I started,
Of
because
course.
it seemed
Yeah.
too good to be true. But I think once you go through the process, you start kind of picking up nitty gritties around like not just the core syllabus, but about test taking strategies. Even. So I think, yeah, definitely.
And let us know, guys, if you have any questions in the chat. Let us know. Okay, so let me like show you part of the course. Show you the course and show you how it works. So basically, we started with our 9-week program, which is our regular course. That was the course I was talking about before, where we use that data to show that we were already getting people to score. But we wanted to beef it up to make sure that, like I said, that everybody could get it, not just an average, the average that we were getting. And so we took that course and we basically added to it. So the first 3 bullet points on the slide are really about making sure that we're covering everything from the foundational level all the way up to the advanced level. So in the earlier part of the program, we've got the foundations of math work that I was talking about. We also added additional lessons beyond that to really make sure you've got a super solid foundation. We've got a new stats 101 sequence. We've got a new computation 101 sequence. Basically all of this stuff to make sure you've got a super solid foundation on the math side of things. And then that's all the way up to in the final like third of the program, the final 4 weeks of the program, we start doing really advanced lessons with different ways of approaching problems like visual solutions for math. How can you draw or sketch something out and actually get there in a quick and dirty, but still fast and visual way for problems that can work that way. Or we have advanced reading lessons for reading comp and multi-source reasoning when they're just inundating you with so much information. And like, how do you actually pick through that and figure out what you need to be able to answer that question effectively, efficiently? So that's built out basically all throughout the program. We also make sure we were always doing like executive mindset and time management and all the decision-making stuff anyway, but we're making sure that we're giving you tons and tons of opportunities to really practice and develop that mindset. So much of the exam really is about your decision-making, about what to do and what not to do at times, to decide to bail on something and move on. Like, this isn't worth your time and it's going to bring you down if you keep trying to do this one problem right now. So a bunch of that, and a bunch of basically just realistic practice in class where you're discussing, like 80+% of the class is basically doing problems together and going into a deep analysis dive with your instructor about like, what's the right mindset? What are the decisions? How do you know when you see these two clues in a problem that what you should really do is estimate versus using the answer choices versus, what do you actually do here to solve? Or how do you know when you see these clues that they're going to set up these two traps for you on this kind of an argument? Just all of that kind of stuff to really dive in and figure out what's the right strategy, what's the right approach, and how do you execute on that in the moment, in the couple of minutes that we have for every question that we have to answer on this test. This slide is a lot. There's a lot on this side. Basically, up here we've got, I mentioned earlier, we use official materials. So we are going to give you the official practice exams. They're part of the program, the official guide. That we do use the latest official guide, which right now is the 2025-2026 version. The new one is coming out, I think, in late May, early June. We'll switch to that one once it comes out. You got all of our books and then just a bunch of online resources. I'm going to focus on these top two right here. So first of all, as you're going through the program, we're going to be like every single day telling you, okay, today you're going to do this, today you're going to do this. And we're giving you a bunch of curated two levels of things. Some are called skill drills, some are called quizzes. So a skill drill is something that's not a GMAT format problem, but it's really just designed to make sure that you actually know your exponent rules. You actually know how to deconstruct an argument. Like, the underlying skill that you need that will then build up to being able to answer a GMAT level problem. And then quizzes are actual GMAT, like GMAT format problems. These ones will progress from, like some of them are, okay, you just learned stats. Now I'm going to give you some GMAT stats-based problems. But they'll also progress as you're going through the program to, okay, here's a random set of 8 questions. I'm not going to tell you what's in it. It's just stuff that you've studied sometime up to this point in the course. So we're starting to get you used to how the real test is, because the real test is never going to tell you, oh, hey, this is what I'm going to give you next. Or this, the next 4 problems are all going to be algebra. It doesn't do that. So we're getting you used to, we're getting you both the individual skills and making sure you know how to do that, but also getting you used to that new question pops up on the screen and you have to figure out what it is. You literally don't even know your starting point. And then being able to go through and still get to an answer, and most of the time to get to the right answer in that roughly 2 minutes that you have per question. On top of that, you also have access to actually 3 different question banks in this course. That are customizable. So you can choose exactly how you want to set up these quizzes. We recommend generally using the Q banks later in the program. So after you've learned most of your stuff, you start to use these to mimic test sections and to mimic like the feel of the real test where you don't know what's coming next. But you can choose topic, question type, difficulty level, number of problems. It's basic. I'll show you a screenshot in a sec, but basically fully customizable. So you can use that for whatever you want. And there's more than 4,000 questions in those banks combined. Plus a bunch of other stuff. Actually, let me show you some things. So here's a screenshot of a calendar. This particular class meets on Tuesdays. You can see that there are videos on the Tuesdays that are labeled as optional. So basically, we take all the class sessions and we made expanded videos of them. So it'll be 2 instructors teaching like an expanded version of all of the lessons of class from that day. So if you get out of class that day and you're like, didn't feel totally comfortable with data sufficiency, I've never seen it before, it's this weird question type that was made up for the GMAT, I want more, then you can come in and you can watch the expanded video lesson for that. But if you felt good from class, you don't have to. That's marked as optional, so it's not required as part of the program. And then tomorrow you're going to come and you get into your stats fundamentals. This is the early part of the program. If you tap this, you're going to be able to see, okay, these are the little lesson sequences. I've got some reading to do and I've got a skill drill and a quiz to do for stats fundamentals. If you tap that first one, it's going to show you like, what's this actual assignment? And then you can launch into that assignment and do it. And you can look at this in calendar view, or you can look at this in list view. So here's that same set of stats lessons in list view. You choose whichever view you prefer. There's also a dashboard that's going to show you like your progress, your performance. Then you can tap into any of these to see the stats behind it. So here, This person has done 8 algebra questions so far. They're a whiz. They've gotten them all right in 16 seconds on average. That might have been a ringer taking this quiz. And then it will dive down all the way to like individual topic levels. So this will continue to collect as you go so that you can see and start to pinpoint, okay, where do I need more work? Whether that's based on percentage correct or on time. Like I might be spending too much time on certain questions, even if I'm getting them right. So you've got all that data there at your fingertips, and you can also, of course, talk to your teacher or to your accountability coach about any of that at any time. This is a screenshot from the quiz thing. There's 7 different levels of things that you can choose, including difficulty level. So basically, you can set these up. As I said, I recommend that you do these like later in the program. You use the quiz builder for that, and just use the quizzes that we've curated for you in the earlier part of the program. And actually, sorry, I see a question in the, okay, so the trial for Manhattan Prep. So a couple of things. So for all of our programs, we have different kinds of trials that you can do where you can essentially see or get the first week of material, or you can attend a free trial class, or both. And so it depends on the particular program that you're looking at. But if you look at our website, there's a free event section. You can sign up for any of the free events. A bunch of those are like free trial sessions again, or free class sessions that are like the actual first class session of a class. For the 655 program that we're talking about right now, we call it a sample class. You'll see it listed as the 655 plus sample class. It's an hour and a half. Go and join that. We also have, like, if you're interested in on-demand, for example, you can get the first week of the on-demand for free. You just sign up for it, and then you can go see everything from the first week and do it all, and see how it works. So depending on what you're interested in. Yeah, there's lots of stuff on our website to go take a look at. All right, almost done. And then I'll talk about some of the bigger picture strategy stuff that some people are asking about. Okay, so overall timeline, the course is 12 weeks. This course that we're talking about right now, the 655 guaranteed course, is 12 weeks. It averages about 10 hours of homework a week. If you do score below 80% on that basic math diag, you do also have to complete Foundations of Math by week 4, which is about 15 or 20 hours total of additional work. Pro tip, if you're going to do this, I would sign up for the class like 2 to 3 weeks in advance, because you get access to everything right as soon as you sign up. And so that way, if you need to go through the Foundations of Math, if you score less than 80% on the basic math diag, you can do that before your class even starts. That's the best way to do it. Then we recommend taking a couple of weeks after the course is over to do review, to take another couple of practice tests. Then I recommend that you take the official test twice. So you're going to take your first dry run right there. Then give yourself like a month between the two. You're going to get a score report from the official test that's going to show you what you did well and what you didn't do as well. And you're going to use that to figure out how to get better before you go in and take it that second time for real. And then just the requirement is just to have taken the official exam within 60 days of the last day of class. So you've got plenty of time to actually go in and take it twice, to do what we're recommending here. So that's the overall plan, basically. Here's the promo code. This is what I should have mentioned at the beginning. There's a promo code. We almost, I'm not sure we've ever done 25% off before, so definitely write this down. I think the most we've ever done is like 20% off for our 655 course, the course I've been telling you about, or the 655 plus private tutoring packages, which have the same guarantee as the 655 course. This expires in a couple of days. It expires at 8 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday of this week. So if you think you might want this, grab this promo code and just make sure that you use it by that time. Because you're not going to get another promo code that's this good. And then I'll just leave you with this on screen to summarize what I talked about, is what the guarantee actually is. That promo code's up there in the corner. And let's jump to questions. What do we got? Okay. So Pooja's saying, I'm facing time management issues in almost every section. Pooja, I am with you. I also face time management issues in every single section. And then you say, if I answer on time, my accuracy goes up. The same is true for me as well. So the same is true for actually everybody on this test, because it's an adaptive test. So no matter how good you are, the test will just get harder and it will just keep up with you. One of the things the test is testing is your ability to make what I'm going to call an executive decision, to say that something is not worth my time. and that I'm just going to guess and move on. You have to do this every day in a business context. And the higher up you move in a company, executives at companies have to decide every single day, we're not doing this, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. So the test is literally designed like they're putting that time pressure on you on purpose because they actually want you to decide sometimes not to do something, because that is the best business decision that you can make at that moment in time. So your task when you're studying is to figure out, where is it worth your time to spend a little bit of extra time, and where is it not? Where can you have to actually have the ability to cut yourself off. So on sections that are like your strongest section, you might only do that on like one question, or if it's really strong for you, you might not actually need to do that on any questions. But on the sections that are not as strong for you, you're looking at doing this on at least 2 to 3, and at least 2 to 3 questions in the section. You're looking at like within 30 seconds going, nope, I'm not doing this question. I'm out. I'm guessing immediately. And what that does is it gives you a little pool of time that you can now add to other questions where it's like, oh, I can do this one, but it's going to take me an extra 30 seconds. It's going to take me an extra 60 seconds to be able to answer this question. So that's one big component of it. It's just that mindset shift of like, I'm not actually trying to get everything right. The test is deliberately setting me up for that. The other piece of it is you are going to need to learn, and this is especially true on math-based questions in the quant and DI sections. If you try to use what I'll call the textbook math approaches to answer every single one of those questions, like what your math teacher in school would have taught you, you will run out of time. You have to learn other kinds of approaches that are specifically designed for taking this kind of test. These are things like estimation or eyeballing. These are things like drawing or visual solutions, working backwards, testing cases, choosing your own numbers to work through the problem to change something from algebra into arithmetic. These are not things that any math teacher in school would ever have told you to use, but you need to do them on this test if you're going to get into that super high type of score. Harsh, what was your experience when you were studying for the test? Is like, what do you think about what Pooja was asking?
I think definitely for me, I started with the on-time practice first. I would say accuracy matters a lot to begin with. Once you get good with accuracy, there are like multiple approaches as you were discussing. At least on the quant side of things, it's not just about having the best neat method. No one is going to give you partial marks for it. So having the best optimal method, which can solve you the question within a minute or two, that's kind of the solution which you need to have on back of your mind, because that's what will help you kind of get to the great score which you are aiming for. I would say definitely it's kind of mix of like getting a good accuracy and then thinking about like what is an optimal or a better solution which could be done on the question which you are looking at. And then it's kind of based on pattern recognition, I would say. Once you practice, you start kind of picking up things from the question and it becomes easier to answer as you go forward.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And Priya's asking the session duration of 6 weeks versus 12 weeks. So we do offer a schedule that's a twice a week schedule. So you'd be meeting, you'd basically, it's the same exact program, it's the same exact materials and everything, but you're having class twice a week for 3 hours each time rather than once a week. I will say we offer it because people want it. I don't recommend it. I recommend doing it. You have a better chance of getting an even higher score if you take the 12-week pacing rather than the 6-week pacing, because it is a lot to do it, to try to do it twice a week. But we do offer it because people do want that schedule.
So we have one more question from Chirag.
Scrolling down, thank you.
Someone who is almost close to 705. Should they extend their practice for 1 or 2 more months, or like should they go back to work and do like 2-3 hours day of practice?
I am going to say, so I do think that this can be an individual decision, but I'll tell you that I think for most people, the right call is to go back to work and do like a couple hours a day rather than trying to go full time for multiple months. And that's simply because, and Harsh, I'd love your opinion on this as well, but it's simply because you can't cram for this test. It's not like a content-based test where it's like, oh, I just need to learn all the facts and rules and then I'll get a perfect score on the test. It really is about developing the mindset that we were talking about earlier in these techniques and these strategies to be able to do it. And that just takes time and practice. It's not something where if you do it for 8 hours a day, that's somehow going to be faster. In fact, it might even be slower because you're just going to tire your brain out. If you're doing 2 hours, 1 hour some days, 2 hours other days, whatever, over a period of several months, you're going to be building those skills up more organically. It's like an exercise program. If you lift weights for 8 hours a day, you're just going to hurt yourself. You're not actually getting it better. But if you're doing a little bit steady every day over several months, you're much more likely to actually have a sustainable improvement level.
And yeah, I think we are almost running close to the time. We'll take one more question from Ans. Tips for verbal CR. I think Stacey, you are one of the best person who got a perfect score. So I think we'd love to hear some thoughts from you.
Okay. Got it. So for verbal in general, let's talk about CR in particular. So for CR in particular, these are more commonly called arguments. There are specific kinds of arguments or specific kinds of analyses that they're asking you to do on arguments. So one of the key, the two biggest, most key things on CR are, first of all, you have to understand like the kind of argument they gave you and the kind of question they gave you. So are they giving you a plan, like somebody has a plan to achieve something? Are they giving you more of like a traditional argument of like, we should do X, Y, Z? Are they asking you to strengthen, to weaken, to find an assumption, to infer something? You need to be able to tell within the first 20 seconds of glancing at a CR question, okay, this one's a find the assumption. And I know on find the assumption questions, I'm supposed to do A, B, and C. And you're bringing that all into the test with you. So that's the setup part of it. The other half of it is those answer choices. It's really understanding the difference between the most tempting trap answer and the correct answer. Most people will already, of course, analyze like, why is the right answer right and why are the wrong answers wrong? What they miss, I find in the analysis, is why did you cross off the right answer? Like, why did you think that the right answer was wrong? Because that's the trap. So that's what you need to understand. And simultaneously, why did you think that the wrong answer was right? So there's something about it that got you to overlook that it was actually wrong. What was that trap? You really have to analyze to understand the traps that you're falling into. That will help you to avoid those traps in future once you start to see the patterns that you're falling into.
Yep. So just one last quick question from my end, Stacey. Do you feel that someone who is already scoring somewhere around 645, 655, will this course be helpful for them? And what would be kind of bigger takeaways from them to pick up this course?
So I do think so. Although someone who's at that level, if you have the money, you might find it more efficient to do tutoring so that you can just focus on the higher end things. This course, as I said, it does have the full gamut all the way from foundations up to advanced. We did used to have a separate advanced course that we don't offer anymore. We just cannibalized it into this program. So you can do that and just focus essentially on the more advanced material that we're giving you in the program. Or if it's in your budget, then you might find it more efficient to do the 655 tutoring as opposed to the 655 course, but that is significantly more expensive than the course.
Got it. Yep. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Stacey, for the honest and valuable insights. It was super helpful. I feel that everyone who has joined were able to take some good takeaways from this discussion. And please don't forget to join our other sessions, which are ongoing in the lobby. With that, thank you, everyone. Bye.